This is a Friday Shoes production. This is lesson 11-3 in our books on page 582. The target today is I can calculate sector degrees and interpret circle graphs. We're actually going to create some circle graphs as well, but that won't be required on most of your problems that you do. All right, so first off, circle graph can be used to compare parts of data set to the whole set of data. The entire circle represents a whole set, so the percents in a circle graph add up to 100 or 100%. So let's look at it as an example. It says construct a circle graph for the percents. So construct a circle graph using the information below, and we have behaviors Americans find most annoying at a movie theater. Perfect for middle school. You can see someone talking on the cell phone gets 73%. A cell phone ringing during a movie is 10%. Someone talking in the movies, 10%. Someone saving seats in a crowded theater, 4%. And then someone loudly eating popcorn or some other snack during the movies, 3%. All right, let's put this into a circle graph. So what's the first step? It says there are 360 degrees in a circle. So we multiply each percent, written as a decimal, by 360 degrees to find the number of degrees for each section of the graph. And that's what's inside the box. And that is your main goal today and what you need to be able to do. So talking on a cell phone, if you notice, it's 73%. So what is 73% of the 360 total degrees in that circle? Well, simply multiply 0.73 times the 360. That gives you 263 degrees. So on and so forth for the other values, 10%, 10%, 4%, and 3%. Those generate 36 degrees, 14 degrees, and 11 degrees. That is as much as we'd like you to do. But to see what the next step would be to actually creating that circle graph, we would use a compass to draw a circle and a radius. Then use a protractor to draw an 11-degree angle. This section represents someone eating loudly. From the new radius, draw the next angle. Repeat for each of the remaining angles and then label each section. Then give the graph a title. So what they would do is take all of these degrees, measure them out, using a protractor and a compass, and then draw those degrees. And you can see here, this one right here is 263 degrees. This one, ringing cell phone, that 10% right there, is that 36 degrees. Here's another 36 degrees. So you can see those as they go down. They do 14 degrees right there, and then we've got 11 degrees right there. But again, the key is to you being able to find out the degree measure that you would need to make for that sector of the circle. So can you find the degree measures of these? I just stop the video, try these, and come on back, see how you do. It says the table gives the percentage shares of top 5 wireless subscribers, or wireless subscribing countries in the world. It says construct a circle graph to represent the data. All right. What we know is we want to take the percentage that is given and multiply by how many degrees there are in a circle, which is 360 degrees. So you'll notice I take all these countries and the percentages and I multiply by 360. If this represents the entirety, the 100% of all countries, then we multiply by 360 degrees to get you the degrees for each one. And once you have that, this is as far as we'd like you to go. But take a look. Here's how you make the graph. We'd actually measure out 7 degrees for China. So if you measured that, that'd be 70 degrees. And then from there, we'd measure out 36 degrees. And there's the U.S., which is 9.9%. And so on and so forth. But again, this is the tough part, being able to get this information and then being able to just make the sectors the right angle measure. All right, when percents are not known, though, you must first determine what the part of the whole each item represents. So let's look at this histogram here. It says construct a circle graph from data. In the Olympics, construct a circle graph of the data in the histogram at the right. We're talking about Winter Olympics and number of medals and number of countries. So how many medals did a country receive? 1 to 5. 12 countries received 1 to 5 medals. and so on and so forth. How do we change this graph into a circle graph? First off, we need to find out the total of the countries. So when we add up 12 here, plus 3 here, plus 5 here, plus 1 here, plus 4 here, and 1 here, we get 26 different countries. Step 2, find the ratio that compares the number in each medal count to the total number of countries, round to the nearest hundredth. So we're literally taking 12 and dividing it by 26, the total number. So 12 divided by 26 is 0.46. Same with 3. 3 out of 26, 3 divided by 26, we get 0.12, so on and so forth. So we're looking at these values right here, and those can be written as percents. So that's 0.46, but it also can be written as 46%. Next step would be use these ratios to find the number of degrees of each section, round to the nearest degree if necessary. So we take everything that we have here in the circle, which is right here, which represents each one of those intervals, and we multiply them by 360 like we did before. And we end up with all of these wonderful values that you would then take out and graph. And this is what the graph would look like. If you can get to this stage right here, we're happy. Then changing these into degree measures, wonderful, but it's something we won't be practicing this year. All right, how about you stop the video, try these right here. All right, birthplaces. It says the table gives the region of birth and a number of people living in the United States who were born in a different country. Construct a circle graph of the data. All right, well, I've got the region of birth and the number of people, but I don't have the total, like how many people is this total? And I need that because that is going to be the out of number. So out of 31,107,573 people, 4,915,557 people were from Europe, originally born in Europe. So what we need to do is divide that number by the 31 million number. And that's what you do with all of them. So when you look at this, I'm really just going to take the total and take the number of people and divide it by that total number, that 31 million number. You end up with these decimals, and those decimals again are percents. And that's what you're looking for so that you can construct a graph if you needed to. If you can get to this part right here, we'd be happy. I believe this is supposed to be, that's not supposed to be there, so it's supposed to be 0.027, because that comes out to about 2.7. From there, of course, we would multiply by 360 degrees, and then you'd get your degree measures if you wanted to actually graph that. All right, let's take a look at this last example. It says analyze and interpret data. It says use the circle graph at the right to describe the makeup of the school enrollment of persons 3 years or older who are enrolled in the school in the United States. And when we look at this, it says school enrollment of persons 3 years older or enrolled in school. And we got 5.4% are kindergarten, elementary school. We've got grades 1 through 8, 43.9%. High school is 21.4%. College or graduate school, 22.8%. And nursery school or preschool, 6.5%. Well, simply by reading this, you can see more persons were enrolled in elementary school than in any other category. More than 3/4 of the total enrollment are in K through 12. So that would be these 3 right here. The number of persons enrolled in high school and the number of persons enrolled in college or graduate school are about the same. So these are just statements you can make by just looking at the graph. Hopefully you can see those things are true. All right, what can you say about this graph right here? It says use the circle graph at the right to describe the makeup of the dollar amount Americans pay for their pets. How much did you pay for your pet? And you can see the different values. 0, people that didn't pay anything, 39%. And then 1 to 5, 12%. $51 to $100, 9%, and so on and so forth. Well, here's a sample answer that you could say. It says more than 3 out of 5 Americans pay some dollar amount to acquire their pet. It says about half of Americans pay more than $50 to acquire their pet. So if you look at 50, I'm looking at that second statement. About half of the Americans pay $50 to acquire their pet. Pay more than $50 to acquire their pet. That means $50, more than $50 would be these right here. You see, that's about half. And then more than 3 out of 5 Americans pay some dollar amount. You can see they're saying 3 out of 5. That means this whole area right in here. That's about 60%. 3 out of 5. So that's just general information. You're just kind of looking at the data and seeing what you can say to make it in a verbal sentence what you see represented here. All right, for further understanding, of course, you can rewatch the video or look at some of the examples in our book or watch some of the personal tutor videos on the online textbook. And this has been a Friday Shoes production.